How's everybody doing? We want to welcome you into the Opinionated 7-Footers podcast. I'm your man, half of the 7-footers, half of the 14 feet a podcast here, man. Ryan Holland's 10-year NBA pro. That's my dog right there, standing 7'1", a slim 265 pounds, world champ, 14-year pro, Brittany Haywood.
Hey, stop changing the weight every week, dog. I'm not 265. You'd have made me 295 the week before, now 265. Stop it, man.
Big dog, you've been working out. I see you in that Gucci, dog. I see you in that Gucci. But, we got things bigger than
you. Hey, they said the Gucci band is over, so I can wear it now.
Hey, man, bigger than you going on, man. My dog, my man, he's a 17-year pro, former All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, dog, the accolades could go on, man. And listen, is it Ron Artest? Is it Metta World Peace? My dog, what is going on, brother? Talk to me.
Man, it's so good to be with you guys, man. Everything's amazing. Everything's really solid. Now, I've been speaking to Ryan for quite some time. I actually know Brendan way longer than you, but But it's good to see y'all doing the show.
Me and this dude go back to Nike camp. We go way back.
Way back.
McDonald's All-American game and everything.
Yes, yeah, that was a hell of a time. I got lucky. Tracy McGrady set up, so I was able to get in the game.
Yeah. Hold on, Ron. Let's dive into it then. So you said Tracy McGrady sits out, and you jump into the game. You always been a baller in my eyes. Were you the up-and-coming guy? Were you established? Like, where were you in the scheme of things? And this is a high school Ron Artest we talking about.
Well, in high school, I was top 100, I think, sophomore year. Then I broke in like 50 junior year. But then you got to think about it. That senior year, you had Shea Cotton, and we had Tracy McGrady. We was all in the same class. Both those guys didn't play in the McDonald's game. I think Shea got hurt, or Shea was doing something else, and then Tracy just went to the pro, I think. So, I probably was still baited, but, I'm saying, I was, it was, those guys wasn't there, Those guys wasn't there. They was nice.
Yeah. Hey, and the thing was, and Ron always had that intensity. I don't even know if you remember this. I'm going to see if you do. So, the McDonald's All-American game, Ron, guys start playing selfish. They start going for theirs. But Ron plays one way. Ron always plays high-intensity defense, play the right way. I'll never forget it. Second half, we come to the bench. Guys are looking Ron off. Hold
on, You're in the game.
Yeah, I'm in the game. I was in McDonald's All-American.
What do you mean I didn't know you played in that game, Brendan.
Stop it. I was a top 25 recruit. Don't play me like that. You know better. So we're in the game. We come to the timeout. It's quiet. All of a sudden, I just hear Ron say, "Man, y'all out here not passing me the ball? All the defense I'm playing? Bet if I don't get the ball next play, I'm snuffing all y'all out." Hey, yo, on everything. I caught the ball next time. I damn near handed it to Ron. I didn't want the smoke. I said, this man out here playing tough defense. He gonna get this ball. I ain't the point guard, but I ain't swinging it to nobody else but Ron.
Yo, you get a little emotional, but how some guys get in those games. They just want to kind of just do their thing. And I was actually coaching the game the other day, and it was like a showcase game outside, and guys are like, you got to pass the ball, man. You got to play defense. Guys want to go one-on-one. They want to wait till it's daytime, and then they want to play. Now you got to play the whole game. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron, well, let's talk about that, man. Who made Ron Artest at the time? Who made you who you are? We always wonder that basketball identity that follows you. From the first time I started playing, my high school coach was a defensive-minded guy. We didn't know nothing about offense, and that sounds much like my NBA career, okay? Dunk the ball, block shots, play defense, move your feet. So who put that imprint of who Ron is? Did that start on the playground, in the streets? Like, look, you grew up in the mecca of basketball, dog. Talk to me about who made you into you.
Shit, honestly, it's like, so when you're a young kid, you either winning or you losing, and eventually you get tired of losing, right? So when I was young, I couldn't really score. So I kept, I'm like, how can I win these games? Crying after games in the park, different things like that. So what I just started to do was just hustle. So I got to try to get a win, and it became my identity. And then to play with the big guys, on the park, they're not letting you, in the park unless you tough. So I just had to build this identity even way back when.
Which park was it? Which park?
Oh, this was Mobb Deep's block, 12th Street in Queensbridge. That's what I kind of got, like my little, that's what I really kind of grew up kind of playing basketball on 12th Street. I mean, those games was, it was really good games. And in order to play with the big guys, you had to grind. So I had to always do the little things, because if you're not playing, then what else you're doing, right? You're gonna be outside, like running around. You got to get on that court, or you're gonna be in trouble doing something else. Right. So I think that's kind of where it came from.
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you something that you probably didn't know, right? We talked about this a little bit before the show about you go to St. John's, but it was really, really close between St. John's and the Miami Hurricanes. Coach Leonard Hamilton did a good job. But he was recruiting you, but he was also recruiting me as well. And I'd already told Coach Hamilton, I said, if y'all get Ron, and there was another kid by the name of Teffin Hamilton, I said, if y'all get those guys, I'm coming.
Wow. They didn't tell me that.
Yeah. Listen, hey, coaches act like it was already done. Like, and Coach Hamilton, he's a great recruiter. Everything that he said he was going to do at Miami, he eventually did at Florida State. Yeah. But really, because I played with we played on the same team at Nike camp. You were on my hallway at Nike camp, so you were right across from me. McDonald's All-American game. So it wasn't like we were like the best of friends, but I respected your game. I'm like, yo, I want to play with that dude. That dude go hard. And so I was not, I'm telling you right now, no one has heard this until today. I was not going to North Carolina. I was going to Miami University.
Wow.
If you went to Miami, I was going to Miami. It didn't help. It didn't hurt that my visit was incredible down there. Hey now. Hey, I can't talk. Hey now. I'm going to let you know. Hey now. That's with your boy. Hey now.
Hey, we visited the same school. Man, I had a good time at that school, but I was on my way there. And then what happened was I went to dinner with someone, and it got in the paper. And then I'm like, damn, I thought I was going to lose my eligibility. So I'm like, I don't think I should go to Miami, because I'm not trying to sit out a year. But I don't even think it was that serious. It wasn't even a big dinner, but somebody from New York hosted it, so I couldn't go to Miami. So they was like sabotaging it. So I said, I'll just go to St. John's.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Metta, we normally don't do this. What was a young Brendan Haywood like? We always try to get the juicy stories. What was his scouting report at the time? Because he was doing his thing in high school. He made All-American, but we always intrigued with the young Brendan. What was that dude like?
Well, basically, you give Brendan the ball, you're gonna get a bucket. You know what I mean? So when we played at Nike camp, that was a tough camp. We was going up against Chris Burgess and all these tough players, And basically, we had a solid team, and not everybody had somebody like Brendan. Remember that game we played against Baron Davis?
Yes.
A young BD.
Yeah, young BD with two good knees. That's a woo-hoo.
Did he bang on you, B?
I ain't bang on, but he was dunking. I was around, but
he was just nice, just like he's about 5'10" or maybe 6 foot. Real slim at that time, and just like
BD was built differently, but he was explosive.
Yeah.
Hold on. So BD, he about 6'3", 6'4". So you're telling me before he hits this growth spurt, he was nice at ABCD, banging on cash, crossing everybody.
We were at Nike, but yeah, BD. I didn't see BD when he was maybe I saw BD going into our senior year, and so he wasn't like 6'3". Yeah. I think he's probably like right around 6'1" or something like that, but he was still super explosive. Now we had Ronald Curry on our team, who was a big time, two-way star. He played, he was cold in football and basketball, so he could match up physicality-wise. But now Nike camp was a tough camp, and like I said, I grew to respect Ron's game enough that I was going to go to Miami if he went.
Hey, remember the dunk contest at Nike camp?
Yes.
Who was in the dunk contest? Tell me you remember who was in the dunk contest.
BD was in the dunk contest, wasn't
he? Maybe BD.
Shea Cotton was in it.
Shea Cotton was in it.
I remember Shea Cotton cuffed it and did the Michael Jordan. From like right like the free throw line. He cuffed it and did the Michael Jordan joint. That's the one that stuck out to me.
Who won it?
I don't know. Shea Cotton. Who won it?
Ronnie Fields. Ronnie Fields. Remember Ronnie? He did every type of 360.
Yeah, you're right.
Yo, Ronnie was oh my goodness. He was so cool. Man, he was dope. Kevin Garnett, old teammate. He did maybe 10 different types of 360s. We in high school, everything over the rim, man. It was unbelievable.
Super explosive. Next level athlete, Ryan. Next level. Next level.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, well, let's break down. Let's jump to, St. John's University, man. To me, when I watched your game, I don't know if you noticed, Ron, on the West Coast, there were legends of Ron Artest, about a 6'8" guy, bringing the ball up court, playing point guard. Like you said, you were a defensive-minded player, but that offense really came around. And like, I know the way you play, like you just love basketball. Like, how did you take going from the inner city into college, and then you become this St. John's legend? Talk about that experience.
Yeah, I mean, the point guard actually came from, playing on teams and losing. So I'm like, when I was a kid, I had to just get the ball, and then I had to guard the biggest guy and guard everybody. As a kid, we didn't always have the biggest teams. So I was always able to get the ball up the floor and I was never really worried about little guards, taking the ball. But, at St. John's, I think what really helped me out a lot was being in New York City, because I was still playing basketball every day. There was times I would go to St. John's and then play in the league at YMCA. Just continue to play basketball.
Hold on. You were playing at the YMCA while being a star at St. John's.
Oh yeah, I play YMCA. I play everywhere. I play everywhere. I played in the leagues in the NBA. I played the Equinox League when I was in the league.
What?
I just love to play ball. Yeah.
You were playing at Equinox while being in. Where was this at? Like Indiana, Chicago? Where was this at?
I got a 2011 championship at Equinox. I got a ring at Equinox while we was playing in the league. But I just love to play basketball, and even to this day, when I left the league in 2016, man, I was like, what the hell am I gonna do, man? I was sick. Cause I'm used to playing basketball, so I kind of took off a couple of years, gained some weight. Now I'm back playing like every day because I got a reason to play. I got a reason to play basketball. But I think being at St. John's and being around all those parks, there's always somebody playing basketball. Maybe not now, but when we was younger, everybody was playing basketball.
And I remember you at St. John's, and like you had one interview, it always stuck out to me. You was like, "Man, I'm from Queensbridge. Toughness is my middle name and my first name." And I knew you meant that too. There's a certain game that really, because your St. John's career was legendary. Was there a certain game where you were like, "Yo, I got into the zone on both ends, and I just took this game over"? That just really stands out.
Now, you know what? Not really. I had one good game at Duke. I had a couple other good games, but for me, it was never about scoring. I played with Elton, Brand, and Lamar Odom on Riverside. We had a squad and more other players.
Y'all had a pro team, man. Y'all had Eric Barkley on that team too.
Eric Barkley, Reggie Jesse. Shea Cotton played with us 1 year.
I didn't see y'all when y'all had Shea. I knew y'all had Lamar, Elton, you, Eric Barkley, Reggie Jesse.
Yeah.
Y'all had another big, strong 6'5" dude that went to St. John's inside.
Sharif Fordham. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Hell of a player. But so on those teams, we passed the ball. You see how Lamar played. Elton. Elton averaged 14. He was #1 pick in the draft. We all went to the NBA the same year. Elton was always the best, and Lamar was always second best, and I was always like third with me and Eric Barkley, and then the rest of us. And we all passed the ball. I would get an MVP. Lamar get an MVP one tournament. Elton would get an MVP one tournament, and that's what the game was. Just play together and play hard. So, at St. John's, I'm thinking that's how you play. But then I needed to score a little more, so I started to work on my game. And then when I got to the league, I wasn't as polished because I wasn't like an offensive-minded player. And then I remember the first time I asked for an extension in Chicago, and it was too early, but I said, hey, the contract's coming up in 2 years. How we looking? And then, it was like, well, it's too early, and I was a little upset because everybody else was getting committed to and stuff. So I just started working on my offensive game, but I never really wanted to score because it's not something I enjoy doing. I enjoy deflections. I love counting my deflections. I love cutting people off. Shell defense. I don't even want you to get to the baseline. I don't even want you to get to the paint. I won't cut you off if I can. And that's what I really enjoy doing. And then the league. They don't really appreciate. They don't understand the owners and the coaches. Some of the coaches, they don't really understand that you can win a game without scoring. You could be the best player on the floor without even getting a rebound. Some games I wouldn't even rebound. I'm gonna be the best player on the floor without shooting, without rebounding, just to prove these dudes wrong. So, but that's where it kind of, you know, at St. John's, I started to say, okay, I got to start working on my game, you know, and then it just, you know, kind of carried over a little bit.
Hey, Ron, let's talk about Chicago, man. You were the 16th pick in the draft. And, you know, we kind of joke, Cam Newton said that the elephant in the room in New England is that you're coming after Tom Brady. Well, you know who number 23 is. You know who Mike is, man. Talk to me about your relationship with Michael Jordan, coming in, really filling his shoes. You know, I know at some point he had to reach out to you. You know, Michael was in between retiring and playing, and now we heard about those story pickup games at his house, man. So talk to me about that relationship with Michael, the first time you really met him and how that relationship grew.
The first time I met Michael was in 1999 when I got drafted. We was playing in the summertime. And obviously I loved Michael. I had number 23 in Indiana, out of respect to Michael, and it was my best season. It was an all-star under his number. First time I played against him, it was at Hoops Gym, I think. Mm-hmm. And I remember just like, I couldn't believe it. Just like, this is Michael Jordan, man. I called my friends. And
hey, Ron, was that the game did you break Michael Jordan's rib that game?
Accident.
I know one of the pickup games you broke Jordan's rib.
By an accident.
Was that the game though?
We played multiple games, but yeah, in the summertime. Just imagine, Michael, you played against Michael. You played with Michael, I think.
I played Mike for 2 years. I already know. He's intense and he was talking that trash.
You know, people don't understand Mike. People don't understand Mike. And, you know, I was always an elite defender. So when I'm going up against Mike, my thing was, damn, I don't know what to do. I love this guy, but I got to go in, right? So I gave him my all every day in the summertime in those pickup games. Mike would come to me after the pickup games and say, hey, you sure you coming back, right? Because I was going, Mike want to smoke. Mike want to smoke. Yeah. He make sure you guard me, right? So I was guarding him one day, and you know, I don't give an inch, and I hit him in the ribs by mistake with my elbow and cracked his ribs, and he still finished the game, won the game on a shot, and left the floor like this, and I'm like, oh, Mike got hit in the ribs, but then the next day in the media, somebody said Ron Artest punched Michael Jordan and beat Michael Jordan up. And so now I'm sick, right? I'm in my room. I didn't go back to the gym the next day. I didn't go to Chicago Bulls practice arena at Bertelsen. I was sick, not answering my phone. Then my agent called me. He was like, what's up? I said, I don't know. I broke Michael Jordan's ribs. They lying to me, you know. It started early with the media. So then Michael called me, and Michael was like, yo, don't worry about it, man. Things happen. You're a good player, you know, and don't worry about it. Everything's all good. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, Mike called me, right? And then I got back into the gym. But those were some intense games, and LeBron was there. I always mention these games because these are epic games, you know?
Some of the pickup games are just incredible. Those are some of the best stories, like the pickup games that happen between NBA players.
Yo, LeBron could have been a starter in the league at 15. I always tell people, like, he was in there with Michael Finley, Jerry Stackhouse was there, Antoine Walker was there. Out of shape Charles Barkley came a couple times and played.
Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck came. That was just exciting because Barkley was big. He wasn't in shape, but he was still out there running. You know what I mean? But LeBron was just posting everybody up. He was posting up all the NBA players. And well, not really me at that time. I was older than him. I was 19 and I was aggressive. But one possession, he came down full speed. And I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do right now? So I just elbowed him in the chest. He falls on the floor and just gets up. You know, falls on he probably didn't even fall, but he took that blow, and I remember that, and I'm like, yo, I gotta go to work. He gonna be in the league in 4 years, and he was one of the people that was in the back of my mind. I knew this kid was coming, and then I started to get 250, 260. He got 270. You know, then LeBron too. I already knew that was coming. He was one of the guys at a young age. I was like, I gotta be ready for him. But I never played against him in the playoffs. And then the weight got too big for me, so I started to lose weight, and I never played against LeBron in the playoffs. And then I left Indiana, and then by the time I left Indiana, we was only seeing each other 2 times a year. So I wasn't worried about my weight no more, but he was one of the real reasons why I was just lifting, definitely.
And you talk about Indiana, and you guys had a talented team, man. Like you, Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, man. Like, do you have any regrets about where that team, Al Harrington, like where that team could have went? Because I thought you guys, man, had a chance to do something special.
Yeah, that was a great team. I definitely was the downfall of that team because I was, we all play in the league, so they have their go-to guys and their number 2 guys, and then you got guys who are a little bit upset. I want to be number 1. Or you know how that go. Yeah. So I felt like I should have got more respect. But the thing was, I was getting respect, but I was just so detrimental in the practice facility, in the practices. Detrimental at the games. You know what I'm saying? And we still winning, which is crazy, right? I know how to play under chaos, but not everybody does. And then there's no place for chaos in an organization, on a team, in practice, in the locker room. I was a super cancer. And
what were you doing? What were you doing? Because we know how amazing you are now, but we're looking at a young one. Like explain, as much as you can. Like, what were you doing, Ron? That was like, I was bugging. And maybe how can this help a young kid now who doing the same thing?
Yeah, man, that's why I'm always available to reach out to young guys. Just like, not getting your way. That's where it starts at, because we're athletes. We all think we're the best. We have big egos, right? So when you don't get your way, everybody lash out differently. Me, I would, disrupt practice, maybe getting a couple fights in practice. I remember getting on the plane and throwing the food on the floor.
Oh, you threw come on, man. Hey, listen, dog, you messed up the food, man. Hey, you messed around me on a long trip with no food, I'd be pissed at you. Like, we need to have to wrestle.
Yo, man. I was doing crazy. Yeah.
Hold on, Ron. Hold on. Who is crazy enough to get in a scrap with you?
Steven Jackson.
I got in a fight with Primo. You know Primo Bridget?
Oh, Primo. Primo.
The Primo was killing it. Primo's crazy because Primo, when you get in a fight with Primo, you gotta watch your back. Like you gotta leave that locker room and you gotta make sure Primo not around because Primo hook off on you.
Primo. I never would have thought Primo.
I played with Primo.
Primo will hook off on you if you test him.
Wow. And I used to talk trash to Primo too. I'm glad he ain't.
Primo was the nicest guy in the world, man.
I thought he was a cool dude. I'm glad he ain't hooked me, man. I'm glad he ain't.
My first practice, I body slammed Tony Kukoč. First practice.
Oh, that's a legend too, Ron.
By mistake. Well, the thing was this. And Tony, I love Tony. I was actually going to change it. I changed my number to Michael Jordan first, the Indiana. Then it was Rodman, and I got suspended. I was going to do Pippen, then Kukoč actually. So I changed my numbers to all of those plays, but I was in his ass. You know what I'm saying? I was in his ass. Rookie in your ass. You're like, get off me, Rook. But you can't. You can't really do that to me. He gave me a couple elbows to the chest. What's crazy? It's the same exact incident that happened with Glenn Robinson when I had a fight with Glenn Robinson in Chicago.
Right.
The season. The same exact incident. I was in Glenn Robinson's ass. He elbowed me in the chest.
Hold on. You said he elbowed you, and what happened?
In the chest. Get off. Elbow. Like, get off me. I'm in his ass. Like, I'm not moving. And then I'm like, all right, no more elbows. So then I just, I picked him up, body slammed him. Same thing happened to Kukoč. Kukoč got mad at me because I'm like 100% aggressive. In practice, like, I'm going hard. You know what I'm saying? It was one practice in Indiana. It was a shoot-around. And then Rick Carlisle was like, Ron, stop going 100%. Stop going 100%. And I'm like, no. And I'm just every drill, bang, go walk into the plays, 100%, everything, right? And that's how I am when I practice. Because if I don't do it, I feel like I'm not getting better, right? So Tony didn't like it. And so we had a little scuffle. He hit me on offense. I went on, then the ball changed possessions. I go on offense thinking defense. I just attacked him, picked him up.
Oh, that's ridiculous, man.
Sorry, my man. It was just stuff like that. Too much, man. I love a little bit of stuff too much.
And what don't we know about Tony Kukoč? Because we always think, the three-point shooter, the flair. We hear the stories of Michael and Scotty going at him, proving to a young Kukoč, And now you saw the Kukoč who kind of went through the Michael Jordan years. Like, so was he trash talking you back? Was this gangster Tony that we didn't see?
Nah, it wasn't that he was trash talking. Because, you know, I think he might have thought that I was just going to give him respect. I mean, you're talking about I was in Michael Jordan's ass in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? And it's just everybody. It don't matter who you play against. So, and he was like, "Hey, just chill out." You know, I'm going to tell, "Hey, just chill out, man. Chill out." And I'm like, nah. Ain't no chill. We 100% all the time. But Tony was a great dude. Like, he was hurt. And if he wasn't hurt, I remember one game he was at Philly. He had 33. I was on the bench at this time. The only reason I was playing because Tony got hurt. But I was on the bench. And I remember watching Tony get 33. And Hershey Hawkins had about 20 that game. But they were both old. So they couldn't sustain it. Right. But I was just like, Tony was nice. You know, I remember, man, he was so nice. But I didn't get a chance to play with him and learn because he was hurt. And he was like kind of retiring at that time.
And you talk about that Indiana team, and you talk about you were known for your defense and your intensity. But, you know, you averaged about one of those years in Indy, I think your last year there, you averaged about 25 points per game. What did you do differently to raise your scoring average that much? Because you became like a bully on the block. Like, cats wasn't real. Like you said, you had that defensive mind on offense. Like, when you were posting up, you was a man down there, man.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't hide because when I'm on offense, I'm hitting you the whole time. So you really can't escape unless you're gonna get off me. You know, you know what I'm saying? But what happened was, like, in Chicago, I was averaging 11. Then my second year, I was averaging. First year was 12. Second year was 11. Then I started working on my game a little bit more. And then, you know, when I got my first year in Indiana, first year touching the playoffs, I was at about 15 or 13 or something like that at that point in time. And then the next year, I was up to 18. And then, you know, and then my defense was really good. And I finished number 6 in MVP. And I'm like, this is crazy, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna try to get the MVP next year. So I just stayed in the gym. My average went up to 20, 25, you know? And then nothing too fancy. But Jermaine really helped me out a lot because when I was first starting to score, I was holding the ball, dribble, shoot, dribble, shoot. And then Rick Carlisle was just telling me, too many dribbles. So then I said, okay, I'm gonna try to score on less dribbles. So then that year, I was scoring one dribble jumper, one dribble to the basket. And they didn't have time to say, you're dribbling too much. By the time they say,
get it out.
And I just kept working on that, trying to keep things real simple. But a lot of it was Larry Bird, honestly. Larry Bird was in the gym every single day with me. Chuck Person was on the floor, and then Larry Bird was every single day. And I would go to Larry, are you coming down today? One time I even went up to go get him. I'm about to start working, you know, and really utilizing that. But then when I left Larry, my average went back down to 20. You know what I'm saying? So I was with Larry the whole time. I think I would have been I think it would have been good, but it just didn't work out.
Hold on, Ron. Talk to me about that, man. Like, what was Larry like? We know Larry the player. Everybody doesn't know Larry the coach. And I don't think Larry gets credit for how smart he was as a coach, but what would he take you through? What were those conversations like? Were there something where he's like, hey, Ron, you got to change this to be blah, blah, blah. What did he do for you?
Well, you know, I was watching a lot of Larry Bird at that time. And, you know, Larry's not the quickest guy in the world. But he get buckets, right? So I'm like, Larry, how do you score? How do you get to the basket? I'm watching it, and I can't figure this out. And he said, Ron, if they give you the lane, take it. That's what he said. Give you the lane, take it. So I started applying that. And then he helped me with my shot, getting my elbow in, and different things like that. And then Chuck had my elbow up. So then, you know, my shot started falling in. So I got information coming from two greats. So then I had to, you know, kind of say, okay, what part am I going to use from both of these guys? So when Chuck is saying, I need your elbow up, you know, so it was like different things like that I was working with these guys every day. And then sometimes they would talk together because Chuck was a really smart coach, actually. Chuck. And Chuck would say, okay, Larry, let's talk about how we're going to work with Ron today. So we all on the same page. So I was working with both these guys, and you take it for granted. Sometimes you think you're the one who's averaging 25.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think you're the all-star, and you forget that it's the coaches, right? You forget it's not you, you know, it's the people that helped you. And then, in that situation, I kind of wish I would have stayed in Indiana, honestly, because just for me personally, I was taking 20 plus shots a game. You know what I'm saying? So when you're taking 20 plus shots a game, and when the organization trusts you, that's going to go on for 10 seasons, right? That's going to go. But when you go on other teams, then you got to fit in. You got to fit in. So I pretty much shot myself in the ass, right? In terms of like what I wanted out of my career was I wanted awards and I wanted championships. Right. And I wanted stats. Everybody wants stats, right? It's just basketball. It's fun, what we dream of. And, you know, I self-destructed early. You know, I self-destructed, sabotaged my own career. You know, but then I still lasted a long time, but definitely sabotaged my own career.
And you say you should have stayed in Indy. So like what led to you, leave? Because you go to Sacramento next. What led to you leaving Indy?
Well, Indy, I get suspended, which Indiana had my back. Donnie Walsh, Larry Bird. The next year, me and Larry was on Sports Illustrated together on the cover. So everybody had my back, and even the fans, but I still was going through a lot of stuff that people, I still was going through what I was going through personally, emotionally. So when I got back that season, it was okay. We was playing okay. And I asked for a trade multiple times. And I wanted doing rap albums and not even focus. Cause I knew I couldn't come to the game and play, but it's like focus on the team, man. Focus on the team. So then finally Larry was like, you out of here. And then I remember trying to say, hey, I'm so sorry. Can I please come back to Indiana? And then by that time, Larry was like, nah, we're pretty much done with you. So that's pretty much what made it happen.
Well, let me go back, man. I don't want to glimpse over it, and I don't want to run through the situation in the Malice, but it's weird. Like, I feel like when I talk to you now, I feel like you were so misunderstood. A lot of guys don't know how to express themselves. You've worked on that. And when I think back to that scene, you're going at it with Ben Wallace. He wraps you up. You go and you lay down on the table. And when the water hits you, I know you talked about this before, you went wild, but like, what were you saying to yourself when you laid on that table? Was it like, don't do it, like chill out, like USA, like what were you, because I've always seen that moment and it was like, yo, conflict, and then it was just like, nah, I see red, like go time.
Well, the thing is, like, so the year before that, me and Ben was the only one fighting for Defensive Player of the Year that year. So the year before that year, when I got Defensive Player of the Year, I got Defensive Player of the Year the Bro year. So I got it before that. But the year before that, I was, finished like top 3. But I got so many flagrant fouls and technicals. The media wasn't voting for me. I'm on the phone with my agent like, yo, what's going on? I'm the best defender in the league. I'm not even on the first team or the second team. Right. So my thing is, all right, you got to chill because that's one less award. That's more trying to pile these up. So then that fight, and the foul wasn't that hard, but Ben Wallace's dad passed away, by the way, that day or something like that. So nobody knew what he was going to do. The foul wasn't that hard for him to come at me that hard and push me, but it was the end of the game, so I get it. So if you saw what I was trying to do, if you look at the clip, I'm like, I had my hand, I'm like, my bad. I was about to say my bad, right? But then Ben was so mad, he pushed me. So I'm like, all right, cool, just go back. And when you get into a fight, we too big. If we want to stop somebody from fighting us, we don't stop it. You know what I mean? 10 athletes. So everybody breaking in between. So I'm like, okay, I don't really want to even think about fighting. And I'm going through my therapy sessions, like as we speak. After every practice, I'm going straight to the psychologist. Every practice, while guys are shooting, right? So I'm working on my emotion. So the table was the only thing that kept me sane, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, here's the table. It was comfortable. The chairs is to my right, but it's too much commotion over there. I'm in a circle of people. Ben's still throwing his headband, wristband, armband, hitting me. I'm like, ref, what's going on? Usually, they tech and they go, you out. That's the hand signal, right? It's boom, 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 boom. They never did that, right? So there's no control in this building. You understand? So I was just trying to chill. Then when the guy hit me, I'm like, and when he hit me with that cut, it was right after Ben hit me with his wristband in my face. So this time I'm like, now I have no control at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting more. So then as I ran into the stands, you look on camera, Ben was trying to run after me, but he was like, what the hell is happening now? If he really wanted to fight, he could have met me in the stands. But my thing is like, I want to become a better teammate. Like, I wasn't even talking to Jermaine at that time. Me and Jermaine, we had lunch for the first time in the Big Three, 14 minutes.
Wow.
You know, and you know how that goes, because you guys have been out at lunch with your teammates.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I didn't like Jermaine. It was just I was going through so much. I just wanted to go home every day. You know what I'm saying? I want to go home every day because there's just too much things going on. So even Al, I didn't have lunch with Al. The only one I really chill with was Jameson Brewer. Me and Jameson, we did a lot of things together, like, you know, and different things. And he was going through some stuff too, so we always was bouncing stuff off each other. And then I went to Steve Jackson's house a couple times, and then Jonathan Bender, he was into music, so I would go to Jonathan Bender's house. Al Harrington family and my family was cool, but me and Al, I know Al from New York.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But me and Al never even went to get lunch like that. But his family and my family was cool. You know, I'm trying to keep my family intact. You know what I'm saying? So people don't, I'm trying to keep this thing going, you know what I'm saying? So like, oh, that type of stuff going at that time. And nobody really knew. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, you know.
And you talk about the things that you're going through, because I think it's intriguing, because I played with some guys that I didn't know what they were going through then, but I know now. Like, I played with Delonte West. I played with Ben Gordon. And so when you talk about like the serious issue of trying to deal with certain things when you're in that life, when you're in the celebrity, because people think because you're an NBA player, life is grand. You play in the league, you make money, you don't have any problems. There's no depression. There's no self-doubt. You in the league. I've played with guys that I didn't know were struggling at that level. Like, if you want to, like, don't let me, if I stepped on your toes, let me know. Talk to me about what it is that you felt like, hey man, I have to talk to somebody about this because I see myself going down the wrong road.
Well, I was still dipping and dabbling in the streets when I was in the league, right? So I was trying to get myself away from that part of the game. Then I had my first nervous breakdown on the way to a game in Chicago. I was my second year. Pulled over on the highway, boom. You know what I'm saying? Nervous breakdown on the way to the game. It was crazy, right? So at that point in time, Chicago was like behind the scenes getting me a lot of help. But the doctors didn't really understand what was going on. My dad was on medication too, right? So they're like, okay, we just gonna give you half of the dosage that your dad got, right? So I'm like, nah, I don't want medicine. We gotta figure this out another way. So they go on with it anyway. But Chicago is so supportive, and the NBA. I mean, the NBA didn't know as much, but they was on their mental health way before, like now. A lot of people think like the NBA just started to focus on mental health, but the Bulls was focused on that in '99. When I came in there, they was really trying to help, but they didn't really have an understanding. You know, you need the veteran. There's things you need to help young players. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, you know, it was just a lot of things going on like that people just didn't really realize, and I was just trying to gain control of. You know, and at the end of the day, if you go back to my neighborhood, I'm a nice guy. People know me as Ron, the nice guy. Right. You know, but it's like when you get into the game and your emotional levels is going up, it's certain times you don't have control over yourself. The only thing I love really, for the most part, was basketball. And right, and you'll do anything for basketball. You know, whereas a guy like Ryan Holland, you going full speed. I've seen you just as passionate as I am, but you're all playing a game. And that was a level that I can never reach. I can never get to that level where I just go hard, box out, maybe even foul somebody, but it's not malicious. It's like just because I'm playing hard, you know. So it was like so many different things like that. Where when you talk about the brawl, I'm just trying to gain control. You know, I just want to have a good career. And so, yeah.
Talk to Ron about the mental health, because you said we all grew up in that culture where it wasn't okay not to be okay, and we had to handle those things behind the scenes. Then you see DeMar DeRozan, you see Kevin Love come out, and they talk about the depression that we all deal with. And Kevin even brought out like, yo, I had a panic attack on the bench. I didn't know if I was going to die. I didn't know what was like. How do you feel seeing that? Have you reached out to K-Love or DeMar, those guys? Because you were one of the first to me when you won that championship for the Lakers. You got on there and said, man, I'm thanking my psychiatrist and I'm donating everything to mental health. Like, that was deep, like
Yes.
major respect for that. But you helped, and then Kevin Love, just, it was bringing awareness to a problem as players we don't talk about, as men we don't talk about.
Right. Well, you know, when I seen Kevin Love and DeMar come out, I'm just like, I know they had support at this time, but I was already working with the NBA for a long time on mental health. You know, so I knew that was okay. So it was really no need to reach out, but I was just in the background, I was just smiling, man. I'm like, this is great. You know, you got two all-stars that's, you know, being vulnerable. And that's what the athletes need to see. The young athletes need to see, like, if I'm feeling a certain way, I've seen this before. I've seen Kevin Love, I've seen DeMarcus, I've seen Metta, you know, and I've seen how they handle it. It's okay, you know. The young players need to see that. And I thought they was big for coming out, you know, and saying I had issues, definitely.
Yeah, and speaking of that championship, obviously you played with Kobe Bryant and that great Laker team. But walk me through your relationship with Kobe, because I remember when you were in Houston, there was a couple of times looked like y'all was about to go to war, and then you go from that to being on Kobe's team and being like, you know, basically the guy right beside Kobe on the team that won a championship. Like, what was that relationship like? Walk me through Houston when you guys were like in an adversarial position, and then when you guys became teammates in LA.
Well, you know, yeah, as players, we all trying to be the best. You know, nobody can't tell you you're not the best. Nobody can't tell you that you're not here, right? So as a player, my thing was I wanted to get MVP. There's a couple things that I wanted personally that I didn't get. And who's in your way? Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, all those guys in the way. And who's actually the MVP? Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. But it's like, do you accept that, you know? Or do you try to, you know, get it? Do you try to win? You know what I'm saying? And for me, you know, when I'm playing against Kobe, Kobe's tough. I had to guard him off a lot. So I didn't even, Elton Brand, one of my good friends, I never even had lunch with Elton Brand in the NBA. Me and Elton, one time, we had a fight on the layup line in high school. You know, on a layup line, on the same team.
What? How do y'all end up fighting on the same team in the layup? How is it even possible?
In practice, something from practice. Me and Lamar had a fight in practice, something from practice. You know what I'm saying? We're just that competitive. When I'm playing against Lamar, when I see Lamar and the Clippers, I'm with the Bulls, you know, I'm not shaking it. That's my man. That's my brother. I ain't shaking his hand. I ain't talking to him. Hell no. And imagine Kobe. I don't even know this dude. I'm definitely rocking with him. R.I.P. Kobe, my brother. So, but then when you're on someone's team, it's like, you gotta, you know, this is a new era. Now, the thing with Kobe, I'm happy I played on his team because I got a chance to know him. But I wasn't trying to go play with Kobe. I wasn't trying to play with none of these guys. Even right before I got, I was a free agent, our little brother, King James, called me, asked me to come to the Cavs. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go there because I need to beat these guys so my legacy's tougher. You know what I'm saying? And I love King James. I really love King James. Like,
so he calls you personally.
We was on the line. We was on the line. You know, I love King James. And then my brother just did a lot of years with his stepdad. They was in the same prison. So I already knew about King James long time ago. Even in high school, I respect him. But my thing is, he's gonna be great. If I can beat him in the playoffs, that's what I'm thinking. Like, that's gonna be big for me, right? If I can beat Kobe in the playoffs, that's gonna be big for me. You know, so I was trying to go back to Houston, or I was trying to go back to Indiana that year. But the problem was, with my history, no teams wanted me. So the first team I called was Detroit. Then we tried to get back to Indiana. I tried to go back to Houston. That wasn't happening. It wasn't like I wasn't good enough. I was just averaging 22 in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so then I told my agent, I said, I want to go to Greece. I don't want to play with none of you. So I told my agent, let's just go to Greece. And they didn't think I wanted to come. I didn't want to play with anybody. I wanted to beat these dudes. And then I said, okay, Greece wasn't working out. So, and I was going to take less money because I don't even think I ever had an expensive car. You know what I'm saying? So money is something I was never thinking about how much money I need to make. You know, I just like the game. You know, so, and then the Lakers called, literally the only team that called. So I had no choice but to play with Kobe. So that was the whole history of that situation. And then when I got there, we had a talk, and he was like, yo, you got to be serious when you hit. He said, ain't none of that BS. We coming to win. I was like, all right, cool. I got you. And then I said, I just pretty much was working on spotting up, working on just like trying to be a role player. And it was hard. I've never been a role player in my life. So I'm missing shots, bang, 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 bricks, everything. But I just, kind of just stayed with it. But Kobe, man, he taught me a lot.
Hey, Ron, I got to bring it up, man, because you my guy, and we know a younger Ron Artest adjusting to be a role player. Listen, I heard you and Phil bumped heads a little bit, and Phil is like, I heard you talk about it before. Phil will hit you with those jab comments. He'll go at you to kind of bring the best out of you. Yeah. What was that relationship like? I know you went after Phil one time, and it was like, yo, like did you have that Ron moment? And Phil was like, yo, I don't care if you crazy. What's up? I'm crazy too.
Phil's amazing. So Phil, I understand that Phil went through some stuff with LeBron and the whole thing. I don't like to get in people's personal business. I can speak personally, actually not Phil LeBron, but the whole Clutch Sports, the whole posse comment thing he made before. But me personally, Phil changed my life. Now, through him changing my life, we clashed a lot. So a couple times in practice, I'm just like, I don't care what championships you got, you know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. Just talking a lot of shit. But the cool thing about Phil, he don't hold grudges, man. Phil don't hold anything. And he taught me a lot about if somebody have a problem with me, like listen, and don't hold grudges. I seen coaches hold grudges. Yeah. I seen coaches, sit players. Back. Because the player didn't do something that they liked. Like, it's not about you, man. It's all about the players, right? But you got to have that respect. I seen players out the league. I'm like, damn, this coach is wrong. All because they made one mistake. But Phil was the type of guy where he'll let you hang yourself. So you'll be like, okay, with Phil, even the triangle is like, just go, and it's for you. You're either going to be successful or you're not. And that's exactly how Phil was. He never held grudges, man. And Rick Adelman, too. Rick Adelman was a type of coach that let things slide if it's not, if it's not over the top.
And we talked about you playing on that Laker team, and obviously we talked about your speech after you won the championship. But tell me the moment when you won a championship. I know for me, like when I realized with like 20 seconds on the clock, I was like, yo, I'm about to be an NBA champion. I was like, yo, I never thought I was going to win a title. Like being in DC on teams that won like 19 games, like I never thought we were going to win. When you finally won, when it's you, LO, your guy from back in the day, y'all win a championship together, what was going through your mind?
Partying. Shit. I'm saying, yo, my dude, party. I partied so hard that summer. My first 7 days was just like, I was at clubs and day parties, drinking. I partied way too much. I came back a little bit out of shape, man, but that was the best feeling in my life because, like, that's all we want as players. We kids, and even the kids right now, right, they want a title. They want that title because they want to be great. And I see, like, what Kevin Durant is doing. Like, he went to a team to win a title. Like, that's smart. Right. LeBron was doing it too. Like, you have to put yourself in position to win a title. I don't care what nobody say. Go join the team. Because that's why we're doing this. We're doing it to win. We're not. Some people will say, like, oh, you're selfish. You're playing on the worst team. You're averaging 30. What do you want? Do you want somebody to try to win, or do you want somebody to go try to average 30? So I'm for people going and playing chess and trying to figure out how they're going to get that hardware. Because it's so hard to do. That's the hardest thing to do. It's easier to get MVP than to get the ring, actually.
Hey, Ron, during that run, you just talked about KD. You changed the Lakers season because you climbed up in KD. You won the game on the defensive end of the floor. Compare how you were so successful against that KD then to the KD that we see now. That's a different boy. But, to me, you kind of beat him up. You did things, and he went back and got in the lab after that summer, and he became a different monster. But I remember that whole playoff series changed And I remember the crowd going crazy. Like, what was that moment like? Even walk me through that.
Well, you know, KD was nice. I played against KD in Seattle. I'm like, this kid is nice, right? So now you get a KD in 2010, still young, but super deadly. So I remember saying, I got to get him out of here now. So when you talk about down screens, you know, get to the point of the screen and make a decision. I'm not talking about do it one time, do it every time, right? So I was able to beat him to spots, to not let him get the ball, because they throwing 3 screens at me every single time. Dang. You know, they throwing 3 screens and then a pick and roll after that, right? So if you look at those defensive possessions, you know, you go, you know, 100 miles an hour to the point of the screen. Then the big is like, oh, is he gonna go follow, or is he gonna? I forget the terminologies now.
Chase, shoot the gap.
Right. So then he could have backdoored me a couple times, but he was a young KD, right? So he was just trying to just run the play. You know what I'm saying? And then I also put my body in a position where if he backdoor, I catch it. You know, so I was able to get him out there, and honestly. And then the next year he beat us in the final. Not the next year, but the year after the Mavs swept us. Then he came the next year and beat us, you know, 4-1 for Westbrook guys. But I got him early because I knew if I caught him later, it was going to be super difficult, you know, to beat him.
I think that we ask this question a lot. I think we got to ask it to you because you're a defensive guy. Now we know the KDs and Kobe's, those guys are hard, incredible guys to guard. Who's somebody that might not have the notoriety of a KD? You like, yo, this dude here, he is like undercover nice. He's a tough guard for me. I told a story about getting cooked by Al Jefferson. Remember when Al Jefferson first found his mid-range jumper? Like I wasn't used to, I was used to him just getting the jump hook. He found that mid-range jumper and cooked me one year in Dallas. Who was somebody you were like, yo, maybe they didn't cook you, but you were like, this dude is underrated as an offensive player?
Well, I got cooked though. I got cooked a couple times. You know, I would say Rip Hamilton was.
Yes. Facts.
He might not be giving you 30, but he's cooking you because he's playing team concept, and it's so hard to guard him. Rip is one of the guys that don't get a lot of, you know, kind of notoriety. There was a couple guys that was tough. You know, like Big Dog was tough.
Oh yes, Glenn Robinson. Big Dog had it all.
Big Dog was just like, he's not on the upper echelon, but. You know, if he would have got a ring, he'd probably be considered one of the greats. If he would have got a couple rings, you know. Then you had Beasley was one of those guys too. Michael Beasley is tough. You know, he's one of those guys that when I guard him, I'm like, this is different. This is a different. You know, he reminds me of LeBron, but he's not as consistent. You know, when you talk about LeBron James, he's locked in every split second of the game. You know, he's locked in the summertime in practice. He's locked in on his body, his curls, everything he's locked in, right? So you can see like the difference between a Beasley and LeBron, you know, but Beasley was really tough to guard. One of the toughest plays that I had to guard. Coming off those picks, those down screens, and when he on fire, you know, it was a major problem.
Especially getting he curled that pick, you get to that left hand, you in trouble.
You're in trouble, yeah, you're in trouble.
Hey, Ron, I gotta throw this to you, man, because for those, you know, Brendan always has a saying, you know, give him his flowers now. Give somebody his flowers. We joke about that. But for you, I remember we were playing in the game. You on the Lakers, I'm on the Clippers. And you were on that, I want to say it was the right block. And I was screaming out, he's going left. He's going bully ball. And you took, I forget who it was, man. You took whoever was good. You might have been mad at the time. You took him with you and went to the layup line. You ended up getting a foul or something. I slid over. And in the middle of the game, you're on the free throw line and you're talking to me and you're going, yeah, that was a foul. Or like, you're like, hey, how'd you know what I was about to do? Like, you're talking while you're shooting free throws and we're having a conversation. Like, you will, like, the first thing on your mind, like, why are you so, to me, I love you, Ron, because you're so humble. Like, I remember we played ball at UCLA. You pulled me to the side. It's like, yo, you're athletic. He was like, you're amazing. And I'm like, yo, I'm nobody. Like, you always give respect and props. Like, where did that come from? Is it just like, yo, like, people did it for me, I'm going to do it for somebody else? Like, you don't wait to give respect as great of a player as you are.
Well, I mean, like, one of the things that people always say, man, Ron thinks everybody's great. I mean, I just feel like if you're trying something, like, kudos to you, man. Like you working hard, you trying. I'll rock with you. You know, and keep going. Like, because I remember I wasn't always like, I didn't know I was gonna be an all-star. Only one time, but I didn't know I was gonna have it. I was just trying to figure it out. Some guys like LeBron or Felipe Lopez, or you know, even like these guys coming out. These guys is great in 10th grade. So for me, I look at it from a different perspective, from an underdog perspective. You know, so I see somebody, I'm like, yo, you could do it. Because if you just work hard, like you really could do it. Because that was what I did. You know, I didn't even make the rookie or rookie game. Both years I didn't make the game. You know what I mean? So that's why when I see a guy working hard, I'm just like, you know, keep going. You got it. You know, whereas some people's not that optimistic as I am.
Hey, Ron, this last question, we're gonna let you out of here, man. We got a fun. We always have a nice fun question in everything, man. So we always ask guys for what is their best celebrity moment, maybe off the court, maybe whether it's a club, lounge, charity event, a moment where you saw somebody where you were in awe. Like Ryan has a story he always tells about the first time he saw Prince. I tell a story about, you know, when I ran into Nia Long when I was in LA. Like, who's somebody, the situation where you were just like, the moment just was like, wow, I can't believe I'm talking to this person, or it went left with that person.
Man, yo. So my favorite people I would say was like Mike Tyson, Celine Dion, Mary J. Blige.
Yes.
And SWV. You know SWV.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So these are people that, you know, my face changed when I'm in front of, when I see, like, absolutely love them. First time I met Celine, and I was always shouting out Celine for years. And then when I went to her show, and I was waiting online to get an autograph because I paid the tickets to get the autograph, and she was like, "Hey, thank you for, you know, all those compliments." How the hell did you know? How did you know? Greg, I brought all my boys with me too, and it was all like my hood boys.
Hold on, you got the whole Bronx at a Celine Dion conference.
All of us.
Concert.
Hold on, how does a kid from Queensbridge become a huge Celine Dion fan? I can understand you being a Mobb Deep fan, they from your hood, but you don't see too many kids in Queensbridge like, yo man, put that Celine Dion.
Celine Dion. What's she gonna do? She's hot. She's fire. You know, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, voice is just amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I took all my boys. I'm like, yo, we in Vegas. We're going to see Celine Dion. Like, man, you going to see Celine Dion? I'm like, yo, we got to see the show. She here. So we go. And then my dude with dreads, a couple dudes with dreads, we all up in there. They crying during the show, right? I'm crying. They crying during the show. And she's amazing. And we all took a picture. And then she was so dope. She got down, you know, the little pose we do.
Yeah.
Yo, she got down like that. I took a picture with all of us like that. It was the craziest experience ever. First time I met Mike Tyson, he was like, "Hey, brother Ron." I called my dad. I'm like, "Yo, Mike Tyson called me brother Ron. He know my name. Me and my dad was on the phone for like an hour. And then Mary J. Blige, I went to go see her perform in Paris. You know, sung all the songs. It was just a hell of an experience. Took my mom, my daughter, and like, what you doing out here? Came to see you. I wanted that experience of Mary J. Blige is somebody, like, when I was younger, she got me through a lot of days. You know, that R&B music gets you through a lot. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm still a huge fan. The one person I didn't get to see, the one group, was SWV. Like, I bought tickets a year in advance, and I forgot that I bought the tickets. I forgot that I bought the tickets, man. I missed the show, man. So
man,
I'm trying to catch them, but yeah.
Man, you still got time. They still touring, but hey, listen, hey, man, that Celine Dion story was dope, man. Ron, we appreciate you coming on with us, showing us love. My God, we go back to I was 17. We go back to when I was 17, man. We appreciate you coming on with us and rocking with us.
Hey, Ron, and now I know where I could find you, Ron, but please shout out everything you're doing now. Where can we support you? Where can we help you? I know you got some really cool things in the works and going, man. So where can people find you? What you got going?
Man, I mean, basketball, man. So X vs. X Sports, like, get the app and download the app to find games, pick up games all over. I've been working on this project for a long time, and it's finally catching on. It's going amazingly well. The invite code is Kobe to Metta for 3. That's 24-37-43, all numbers. So the invite code is right there, and let's play some ball, get in shape. That's pretty much it right now. I'm pretty much full-time I focus on that.
And when you say let's play some ball, like you literally hoop in the games, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We've been hooping everywhere. We've been hooping every day. I don't hoop hard all the time, but Upland, all over LA right now, and we slowly spreading out. And it's been a really good experience. Like I said, I was focused on this for so long. I wasn't playing no ball. I wasn't even working out. I got up to about 307. Now I'm back down to 280. I'm trying to get myself down to even more, but it's a really
I can't even imagine you at 307. What'd you do to go from 307 down to 280?
Just playing basketball every day. You know, it's in playing basketball.
Right.
That's it. That's gonna get you in shape right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Ron, well, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Ron.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's Metta World Peace, Ron Test. Shout out to all the 7-footers out there. I know they be forgetting about y'all in the pickup games. You know, you got to keep running up and down the floor. You know, they going to small ball. We respect the 7-footers. Shout out to the opinionated 7-footer. We need this show to pop.
We so opinionated, 7-footers who made it, block shots, dunked on some of the greatest. P-Town and Carolina in touch with the latest. Posting up on the topics, ain't no way you can stop this. Hollins and Haywood, post off the pivot, living life to live it. Tire suits are fitted, cash up, mash up, now we hook skidding. Stadium to the set, we the littest. And the biggest.